He grew up in the streets. He was a drug dealer in the 80s, was in prison 3 times in shootouts and gang stuff. And he had many stories where he should have been dead many, many times because people tried to shoot him and kill him. And he was in dangerous situations, and he knew the real gang New York. And out of that, he had a girlfriend. He was addicted to painkillers. He fell off of a scaffolding. He broke his back. His girlfriend overdosed, and he just had so much drama and traumatic experiences in his life. And he would tell me these testimonies. We would walk the streets. He would show me which gang is where and how to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And everything I know these days about how the streets work in Harlem, I know from him. It was a regular day, and we were just done with our Sunday school, the way we always did it. I was new in Harlem, I had no idea, and I locked myself out of our truck. That means we had to wait for somebody to come, bring an extra key for the truck, and we were just hanging out, and we were done with our Sunday school, talking to the kids, and there came this guy with his little dog, and he looked really rough. You could tell he had a rough past, and he came and he's like, "Hey, my name is Jesus. What are you doing? I see that you guys do with the kids, and hey, are you from a church? And can you call me next Sunday so I can come to church?" And I told him, I said, sure. I took his number, and I promised him I would call him on Sunday. I forgot to call him that Sunday, called him the week after, and invited him to come to church, not thinking really much about it because I invited many people to church, but to my surprise, he came to church. And at the end of the service, when the pastor asked who would like to give their life back to Jesus, he stood up, raised his hand, and from that moment on, Jesus, to my surprise, he came back to church, and really God transformed his heart. And we started our journey. We were friends for 6 years, and even though he was 20 years older than me, he wanted me to teach him how to read the Bible, how to pray, and we started doing discipleship together, where he would ask me what to read and how to read the Bible and how to pray. We would pray together. He would show me anything that he knew about the streets. His dream was to one day have his own apartment in New York City. He lived on his brother's couch. He went to a rehab program to get off of his medication. He would backslide and all of a sudden send me a picture of him holding a gun and saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna do one more drug deal and I'm just gonna be a lookout, they're gonna pay me." Or he would say, "Oh, just one more time, I'm gonna use some counterfeit money that my cousin made just to make some money," and he would take fake $100 bills and go to the store and buy something and get the change, and that's how he would make money. He would sell his medication on the streets to make money. And so through that, I saw how God started working in his heart and how he started being transformed, how he started leaving these old friends and old places behind, how he started finding his hope in Jesus, and how he became more like Jesus, how he would start bringing his friends so I could pray for them, how he would bring kids from the neighborhood to the program, and how he would tell others about Jesus even on the train. And I knew that his dream was to have his own apartment. And he always told me, he said, "Robin, one day I will have my own apartment. God is gonna give it to me. I know it." And he was in this rehab program. He went through it, he made it, and he actually found his own apartment. And he was so excited. He would call me and tell me how it's his biggest testimony, and he was so happy. But because of his past, he had so many health issues. He had lung issues, and he had pneumonia, and he would go to the hospital, and he would always have a cold, and they would say, "Oh, you're fine." And he went back home, and he went back a week after and said, "Hey, I can't breathe." And they gave him a medication, said, "You're fine, don't worry about it, it's just from your past." And his brother then found him one day dead in his apartment after he suffocated. He had a cough, he was coughing with his pneumonia and issues with the lungs. He couldn't get air, and he suffocated in his apartment. And his brother found him 5 days later, and he ran to me and said, "Robin, you have not heard what happened to Jesus." And he told me that literally 2 minutes before our Sunday school with the kids started, and I was so devastated. But as I was thinking about it, and he invited me to come to the funeral that I went to, I was thinking, I was seeing how good and gracious God is. God loved him. He pulled him back to him. He found Jesus. He was saved. He had a transformation. He told others. God really used him, and he even provided this apartment for him that he always wanted. And now he's with Jesus. But one thing that hit me the most was when I went to the funeral, and I came in late because we were still doing Sunday school in another neighborhood. And I came in and I introduced myself, and people could tell that I was not from the family. I was not Puerto Rican, Spanish. I'm Caucasian, and I stood out. And we went there, and somebody asked me, "Oh, what's your name? How did you know Jesus?" And I said, "Oh, I'm the guy from the kids program, and we knew each other for 6 years, and we would read the Bible together." And he would say, the guy said, "What? Your name is Robin? Oh, that's you. Jesus always told us that you are his pastor, and that you are the guy that showed him everything and invited him to church, and he spoke so highly of you." And I was so humbled how God would use a young Swiss kid, not American, not from the hood, to see how a life like Jesus' life would be transformed. And he said, "Come, I want to show you something." And he brought me to the front next to the casket, and he showed me a wooden cross, and he said Jesus had that in his house. He had it, and on that cross were the 4 most important things that we teach the kids in Sunday school. It said, God loves me, I have sinned, Jesus died for me, I need to decide to live for God, and he wrote my name on the cross. And there was no other names on this cross, and there's nothing magical or anything about it, but the fact that I was his friend and I got to be his friend, and my name was written on the cross, and he was praying for me as I was praying for him. And because we walked that process, that journey of 6 years together, it was such a humbling moment to know that God used me to impact a life that many would have looked at and said, you're just a junkie, you're not worth investing in. And so my encouragement and the testimony is that God can use anybody to impact anybody. And if I would have just said, the guy's just crazy, and I would have left it, I would have not seen God use me in his life the way he did. And I was blessed to see how God changed his life around, pulled him closer, answered his prayers, he received healing. And so I want to encourage you to not give up on people, and not in your heart already decide that you know who is worth investing into and who not. And so that's my testimony, my story with Jesus, my friend that is now with Jesus, and I'm happy that I was able to be a part of it. I'm honored how God used me, and I want to encourage you that God can use you even when you feel unqualified or not able to give somebody that is older or whatever what they need. God knows, and he puts you in people's lives so you can do life together, and he can use you to transform lives.